What's up, everybody? There are some issues getting the stream going, but it seems like it's going now, so that's good. I mean, some YouTube bug. As you notice, it's horizontal, which is not how I usually like to stream, but it was the only way I could get it working this time, so. Let me get all messages going. All right, great to see you all. How's it going, Jerry or Miho? How's it going, Saprophytic? What's up, Jesse? Good to see ya. How's it going, Ignoramus? And who else do we got here? Of course, we got Chris. What's up, Chris? Great to see ya. How's it going, Hump Deezy? How's it going, Aaron? Learned to fly. How's it going, Becky? Chris, no, it wasn't Popeyes, but it wasn't very healthy either. I just needed to get something down for doing the stream. Actually, I wasn't intending on eating, but I realized that, hey, you know what? I got a couple of minutes to eat, so I just went ahead because I'm pretty hungry. What's up, Bill? Great to see ya. How's it going, AV Sawins? Good to see you all. Be sure to smash that like if you're new here, or even if you are not new here, that would be great. We got 26 people in here, 6 likes. What are the benefits? Well, it's going to reduce your contamination rates. And also it's going to get this video to more people's newsfeed so that we could get more questions and we could keep the stream going. Speaking of questions, if you want to have any micro questions, feel free to ask. It's just in the comments. It's free, and I will help you out. And yeah, basically over here you got discount codes if you want to support me. And oh, I forgot to mention one of the most important parts. Check out my website, mycosage.com. It's in the description. There's loads of benefits there. Patreon took me down a long time ago. In fact, I was the first myco creator that Patreon took down. And since then, there's been a couple more. And so because of that, I made a website last year. And so you could check out now over 100 videos. Actually, I posted the 100th video today. So if you are a member as well, check it out. It's a really cool video. I know it's been a while since I posted a video, but it's on there now. Yeah, check it out. It's only $4.99. Gain access to all the stuff. 18 plus hours of videos. All right, let's go back to chat. Becky says, I made home chili and cornbread. That is very nice. Very nice. How's it going, Lucid? Chris says, just had Chinese food, sad because it was not that good. That's too bad, man. Chinese food always hits the spot usually, but you got to get it from the right place. And like, you know, it really depends. There's like American Chinese food, which is like chicken balls and stuff. And then there's real Chinese food. They're both good. But definitely the American one is a lot more, let's say, filling in a sense. What's up, Xavier? Great to see ya. Homeless Dog says, do you forage at all? Yeah, occasionally, but I haven't foraged for mushrooms in a long time. Usually, nowadays, I just forage for wild greens and berries and stuff like that. I'm having a little bit of a nice little black tea, and we got a wedge of dried lime in there because I got an infinite lime hack in real life. And I used a dehydrator to dry the limes. All right. Learn to Fly says, y'all throw a like just because. Yes. Hey, how's it going, Shelby? Good to see ya. And speaking of which, guys, the microscopy tiers on the website are going to be coming back on the 1st of October. So this is going to be the first time in like 8 months that it's going to be open again. And I don't know when it's going to close again because I foresee it lasting for at least 3 months. That's a sure thing. But beyond that, I can't say. I might close it down again for some time. So yeah, check it out from the 1st of October to the 4th. Now, because of shipping, they're because of the current trade relations issues between Canada and the US, I'm not able to do microscopy sales to Americans, unfortunately, because it's just too costly, either for me or for you, depending on how I go about it. But it's just too costly. But I am still doing international genetic sales now. But for the microscopy tiers, it's going to be fine. Still for the Americans, most likely. Okay. At worst, you might have to pay like $3 extra to as tax, basically, as duty. But the thing is, I'm going to set the value low to $10, which from what I've read should be able to go through without issue. But at worst, it may be $3, so it is experimental. But because of that, I am also going to be sending out some super, super rare, non-commercially available genetics. And it's from a friend of a friend, a former Mycophiles member. It is okra squats. It's a squat mutation that he's been working on, a guy called Flow Leopard. And I posted some pictures to all of you guys who are email subscribers at MycoSage. If you want to join, check it out. If you want to be an email subscriber, it's completely free. And you get access to all the news and stuff like that firsthand. So, but it's a really, really cool genetics. So that's the incentive. Now, again, at worst, you might have to pay like $3 extra or whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but in all, I don't think it should get caught. You know, price it at $9.99. It's a minimal amount. It's more trouble than it's worth for the system to process it, from what I've heard. So I'm sure that you should be good. So Americans are still okay for the genetics tiers, for the microscopy tiers, I should say, the super tiers it's called. But for anything more than that, basically, like if we go to, like $20 per swab, then it starts to get iffy, and you might have to pay duties on it. So it's just too much complication. I just don't want to go through there. So unfortunately, microscopy sales to the US is currently off, other than the microscopy tiers, which are on. So, okay, let's see. So yeah, October 1st to the 4th if you want to join up. All right, let's go back to the questions. Oh, by the way, thank you, J.R. Miho, for your $10 super chat. Thank you so much, bro. Really appreciate it. I think this is your first super chat. So yeah, the thing is, YouTube takes 30%. So I'm left with $7. So that's why I recommend, if anybody does want to throw in a donation my way, which I really appreciate, thank you very much. I have a link in the description for my PayPal account, and they take much less than 30%. So I would appreciate if you throw it in there. But thank you so much, Jay. So SD says, hi, thanks for your videos and the education. Do you have a video that teaches how to inject the spores? That's my next video, at least planned to be. I do want to release it, but here's the thing. I know it's not going to get a lot of views, and I know it's probably going to hurt my channel. So I'm really wondering if I should just put those videos onto MicroSage, my website, and then just post like other videos on this channel. Because yeah, if I post a video that doesn't perform well, and my last couple of videos haven't really performed well, then it's going to hurt my whole channel overall in the algorithm. So that's the problem with YouTube. It has to be super focused for what your viewers want, and most of my viewers are not looking for that information. So I'm like really kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I do want to release it for the Mushroom Mastery series and get that continued. But if it's going to hurt my channel like long term, then it really does make me think twice. I'm still in the process of considering what I should do about it. Chris says, I enjoy the video vault, dude. I will randomly just watch videos at work to pass the day. I swear I learn something new every time. Awesome, man. Awesome. Stratotanker says, what do I do with the old cake? You can basically just, if you've got a yard, you could dig a hole and put it in there. Or you can put it in a compost pile, that kind of thing. Or you could just throw it away, which unfortunately is what I am forced to do. Where were we? How's it going, Forrest? Learn to Fly says infinite lime hack, my man. Yep. Lucis says nice to have a lemon and lime tree also. That's awesome, man. That is awesome. How's it going, Happy Dose? Good to see ya. Much love, Jay. Chris says just move here, bro. Oh man, if only if only it were that simple. But it's really, really hard to emigrate into the U.S. I mean, I would prefer that. Definitely, I would like to. It would make my, my life a lot easier, But it is what it is, man. I don't know. Maybe if a company would sponsor me. Saprophytic says, which tier is this? It's the super tier. The super tier is on Microsage, the website. It's in the description. And you get microscopy materials, a special microscopy themed letter, collectible letters. Every month it's a different feature. Bill says, I'll pay any price. Thank you, Bill. Lucid says, got 14 different strains in my spore library currently. They are special and a good handful of regular spores. Cool. Jay says, I would absolutely love to be involved in that. My job is literally to acquire all the cultivar I can and eat them, write down what happens. Paid by the state of New Mexico. That's awesome, man. Part of a study, huh? Very nice. Jay says, I got you, bro. I'll send you another offering. I would love to get some mentoring. I know a lot, but only a fool holds a full cup. That is true. I love to learn more. Awesome, man. Hit me up on my email for mentoring. Saprophytic says, ever tried Hoog, the shag? No, I have not. Unless you mean Samps, in which case it was, for a long time, it was mistakenly labeled as Hoogs, but they're not actually Hoogs. Real Hoogs are pretty rare. It's rarely grown. It's a very, very kind of a special niche within a special niche that grows them. Yeah. Oh, wow. James, thank you so much for the $17 donation, man. Thank you. What was I going to say? Yeah, if you guys haven't, be sure to smash that like button. We got 31 people here and only 20 likes. Let's get up to at least 50 viewers, guys. And how do we do that? Well, smash that like. It'll get this video up on the algorithm. Hopefully more people will join in. The Mycovet says, Sage, all in one bag, looks ready for a break and shake, but there is yellowish looking liquid with the mycelium on the bottom as a contamination. If it's like pooling up on the bottom, then that suggests that there's a little bit too much metabolites. That's what it is. Oftentimes, the mycelium releases it in response to stress. So it could be, it's not, it in itself is not a contamination, but having a lot of that can be a sign of contamination. It usually is. What's up, Jet? Good to see you again. It's been a while, a couple months. Divine Factor says, I'm just learning, so glad I found you. I'm glad you found me too. Yeah, Chris, it is pretty damn difficult. It is really difficult. And like even once you get into the country, then to get a green card, it's literally a lottery. So you could be living in the U.S. for like 10 years, working, all legit, but if you don't win the if you don't win the lottery, then you're out. Jay says, I appreciate that live casing thing. I had only heard of rumors, and my homegirl in Taos uses chia. So she schooled me a bit, and that's how I found this channel researching that. Works wonderful with exotics. Awesome, man. Awesome. Sweet, man. You are allowed by the authorities to be able to have 6 fruiting tubs or 6 fruiting grows. That's awesome, dude. Hey, Fred, great to see you. Great to see you. It has been a while. I'm glad you're able to catch this live stream, man. How's it going, Daniel? Michael says, love your videos. I grew TTBVIs with 3 parts poo, 2 parts core. First flush was 15 grams dry, but they were small and stringy. Just a lot. Normal? How do I get bigger fruits? Yeah, I mean, in the first place, they're pretty small and they're pretty stringy. It looks like little pieces of dried grass, honestly. But if your caps are small, then that means that you can increase the fresh air exchange. That'll cause the caps to open up. Shelby says, you're the best teacher ever. I learned everything I know from you. Appreciate it, Shelby. Thank you. Michael Coonan says, I'm harvesting like every 4 days, so they're really taking off. Right on. Chris says, where the F is Adidas? That's crazy. A lottery sounds like something from the Hunger Games. Yeah. Shoebox life, baby. Heck yes. Michael says, love your videos, by the way. Thank you. Daniel says, tips on getting the perfect spore print. Yes. Okay, so first thing, you want to do it in a still air box or in front of a flow hood. But if you do it in front of a flow hood, I recommend a still air box more than a flow hood for doing the caps, getting spore prints, because constant airflow is going to dry out the caps quite a bit, and you probably will end up with a lesser spore print, less spores. But basically do the double printing method inside a still air box. Use aluminum foil, put it on there, and once it drops spores, 12 to 24 hours, take it off, and then take a new aluminum foil and put it on there, and then go for about 24 hours with that. And you're gonna have the cleanest spores possible. Now, if your caps, but inside a still air box, it shouldn't really matter. But if you're worried about your caps drying out, then you could take a little syringe with water and just put like maybe 1 or 2 drops of water onto the caps. Too Proud American says, so how much FAE do you recommend for a tub? It's not really quantifiable. At least I don't know what would it be. Basically, like, here's the thing. You just basically want to have the balance between the moisture, enough moisture, and enough airflow. So if you have too much FAE, then your tub is going to be drying out. If you have too little FAE, then your tub will get there's going to be too much water. It's not going to encourage fruiting because fruiting needs air, but it also needs moisture. So check out my proper surface conditions videos. And I got a bunch of videos I talk about, what you want to look for and things like that. Rebecca Smith says, I put my shoe boxes to fruit last Saturday before I left town. One I have harvested 3 times and the other one is waiting for. I don't know. It could be a whole myriad of things. Really depends. Skunkle Sour says, I'm new to growing and the all-in-one I got had a hole in it that I didn't notice. I did tape it up. You think it's cooked or will it survive? Okay, so first things first, get the F away from all-in-one bags. Watch my videos. Make grains, make cocoa core. That's really all you need to do. Get spore syringes from a reputable vendor. I got them in the description along with discount codes. They will not let you down. Yeah, but if you had a hole in it, then it's probably cooked, especially depending on the size of the hole if it was a big one. But you could probably salvage it, maybe. Like, for example, if for some reason only that part gets contaminated, but then the rest of the All-in-one bag is colonized, and you could try to fruit it like that. But I wouldn't really have much hopes of that, because all-in-ones in general are pretty crappy. Sorry to say. Ignoramus says, Sage, have you ever tried putting filter patches on 6-quart shoe boxes? No, because it's not necessary. I find 6-quart shoe boxes naturally get more than enough FAE on their own. No issues at all. What's up, Soraya? Good to see ya. Chris says, lol, F all in one. Bad Nurse says, hey Sage, hey chat. Hope all is well. What's up, Bad Nurse? Good to see ya. Billy Hill says, 8 all-in-one bags are slow and just bad all around. Absolutely. Proud American says, one more question. Do you really think azomite and sub makes a difference? No, not really. I'm not too big on substrate additives, really. The most I'd go for is gypsum. It's got some research behind it. It does actually help a little bit. Badner says, Sage, do you know if dehydration at too high of temp produces flavor? Depends on what temp you're talking about. If we're talking, like dehydrator temperatures like 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the max for dehydrators, no problem at all. Absolutely zero problem. They're fine for 1 hour and 400 degrees Fahrenheit, according to 2 studies that's been done. They're very, very heat resistant. Basically, that's deep frying temperatures. I have a video on that called Proper Dehydration and Storage. I highly recommend anybody who's newer to this hobby, who are wondering about how you should dehydrate, because this is a really important part that beginners oftentimes just like skip until they get a harvest and they're like, okay, how do you dry this? Well, if you don't have a dehydrator at that point, you're going to lose quite a bit. So definitely watch that video, how to keep your stuff good for years on end. Chris says, yo, I inoculated some sorghum. I got off Amazon and hasn't done anything in 2 weeks. Was that a bad idea? No, sorghum is a good grain. If it hasn't done anything in 2 weeks, rather than blaming the grain itself, I would blame your preparation and your inoculant. Chris says, you have a video on everything, freaking guru. Oh, geez. Thanks, Chris. I'm not a guru, but I appreciate it. There's many more videos I still have to make, man. There's so much more I need to make. It's just a matter of time and energy. Actually, I was thinking about making a little video today, like maybe a YouTube short or something, because it's really not that big of a deal, but it's kind of a proof of concept because, I came back after about 4 months away, right? And then I checked my cooler, and in it, I made some coco coir using Bucket Tech before I left, and open it up, completely fine, no mold, doesn't smell funky, So just to show, coir is non-nutritious. Kingdom Dumb says lots of air fryers have a dehydrate setting that works fine too. Yep. Bad Nurse says I have a cheap dehydrator with only 1 temp. Okay, so if dehydrators with only 1 temp go to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. 2 times I ate normal size and was very nice, but not what I expected. So you see, that could be down to the genetics, in the sense that you went from a multi-spore syringe. Multi-spore syringe is a genetic crapshoot. Or it could also be that the genetics were fine, but the long-term storage method was not up to par. So a little bit of water got in, a little bit of oxidization, because water, just even a little bit of water will completely mess with the long-term viability in short time. Even within a week, it will just completely destroy any taste. Chris Man, welcome, and thank you. Michael Vet says, yeah, I'm not doing all-in-one anymore. Got a tub almost ready to move to fruiting as well, so good thing in case that all-in-one is done for. Awesome. Yo, Ambwa, great to see you, man. If not a guru, perhaps a sage. Yeah, literally, that's my name. Yeah. Kevin Goet says, I'm late, sorry. That Koro poo lover. I don't know what the A.E is, Kevin, but good to see you. Chris says, do you ever think about doing shorts on here? I thought about it a long time ago, but the thing is, with shorts, it can completely mess up the viewership of your long form content. So YouTube will, because basically, essentially, shorts viewers and long form viewers are completely different algorithmically. People who watch shorts don't want to watch long videos. So if your shorts start getting popular, then your long videos are not going to gain nearly as much traction. So that's the problem. And I don't, my content is basically largely suited towards the long form. So I don't want to mess up the algorithm on that end. So that's why, but occasionally I do release shorts, very occasionally. Ignoramus says I dehydrated at 122F for 24 hours, always great. Jay says, I have a question about the enigma. I don't know if you have any experience with this strange little thing, strange little guy. Yeah, shoot. Too Proud American says I hydrated barely for jars, thinking it was a good idea because most liquid culture and agar are light malt extract. What do you think? What, I don't understand the context here. What's up, Working? Wee John says, hi, I'm going to have a go at PF Tech for the first time. Total beginner. Would you recommend putting 4 RTV injection ports on each jar or micro tape suffice? So I would not recommend doing PF Tech for your first time. It's a outdated tech in terms of for beginners. There's much more easier ways via shoebox, which is what I do. Check out my videos on MicroSage or check out any of my videos on here because that's what I primarily grow with, shoebox method, and it's much easier overall. Chris says, I got food grade non-GMO sorghum. I added self-healing patches. I ISO'd everything before. I had 2 different strains and syringes from a supplier. I've had good luck with using micrograin bags. Then it could be it could be that the sorghum grain was not hydrated enough, the grain prep. Because like not all, like different grains have different preps. Like if you can't try to use something that works for oats or brown rice, let's say like the brown rice video that I have, you can't use the brown rice method for something like oats or rye or millet. What's up, Big Bad Wolf? Not too bad, not too bad. Jordan Strauss says Estero taste versus TTBVI taste. TTBVI, in terms of just pure taste, is stronger. But the qualitative umami is different. Jay says, if you're familiar with how long it takes to finish fruit and how I know it's ready to harvest. Okay, so I got videos on that. Check out Harvesting Talk. It's one of my most popular videos. And also for how long it takes, I literally have a video called How Long It Takes. It's all in those videos. Let's check them out later on. Oh, okay, wait, for Enigma, right. My bad. 6 weeks, yeah, that's normal. It could last longer than that, way longer than that. Could be a couple months. Looks like a rest of blue brains. Okay, so if they're turning blue already and they're coming out, then you should harvest them. Because one of the common issues with Enigma is that people don't know when to harvest them, and then it starts rotting. So definitely harvest them if you're in doubt sooner than later. It's going to be tastier that way anyways. AV says, I like the long form. It suits your style and content. Thank you a lot. Cheers. DCB says, thank you for all you do. No problem. I'm not Gordo. I'm not Gordo, but thank you. Wee John says, I only have spore syringes. Is that okay for grain spawn? Thanks. I mean, if that's all you got, it wouldn't hurt to try. You probably will have a lower success rate because it is kind of a crapshoot. But for example, with the spore syringes that I make from the sports prints that I take, it's very, very clean. I've never had any contamination on grain going directly. And that's what I do with my own personal syringes. But with vendor syringes, I'm very, very careful with that because basically they're just not as clean as the stuff that I make. Like, last year I got a bunch of vendor syringes from pretty much the most trusted vendor out there, spore syringes. And only, like, after inoculating like 12 of them, only one of them was fine, like grew without contams. Chris says, yeah, that's what I was thinking. It seems super dry. Any chance on saving it? Basically, you're going to have to inject sterile water in there. Depends on how dry they are. How much you need to put in there will depend on how dry they are and how big of a container you're using for them. I actually have a whole video series on, like that I made way back on this exact thing because I tried out the flash prep method for rye, which was suggested by somebody very trusted in the community. And basically every single time I tried it, it was just way too dry, so I would have to basically inject sterile water in there, sometimes like 50 milliliter for a quart jar. So that's why, so then I went back to the old way of preparing rye, the classic way where you soak it overnight and all that. And no problem at all. Sure, it takes a lot longer, but at least it works. I'm just reading through the questions. Okay, so Kevin says, I'm running an albino strain and the mushroom caps look like there's some bruising, but there's still some very small. There's still, excuse me. They're still very small. The veil hasn't even separated. Could this be from misting during fruiting? No. Jay says, I'll harvest half and let the rest go to see if they keep going. I have 2 bowls. Bandrix! So good to see you, man. I sent you a message on Signal a while back. So check it out later on. Great to see you, man. Great to see you. Life is indeed beautiful. Jay says, research and whatnot. Thank you, though. It's certainly going to be a strange night. The Mycovet says, saw your brown rice video. My wife is at the store. Now I have brown rice. Once you go rice, you never go back. See on the other side, Jay. And I guess if we're talking about fresh, it's not 3 but 30. Saprophytic says, thoughts on corn drippy tech. I'm not too keen on it. I just like to keep it simple. Brown rice does have more nutrition as well, but at the end of the day, it's down to cost, performance, cost per performance. And if, I know it's pretty damn cheap to get corn in the States, especially. So if that's, what's accessible to you, then definitely use it. I'm not too big on the drippy part. Daniel Wilson says, I'm taking a mycology course in college right now. Thank you for giving me the perfect listen while I do the homework for it. Awesome, Daniel. What's up, Evan? How's it going? So yeah, I pretty much caught up to chat almost. So I'm gonna do a little plug here. Discount codes in description, genetics, gummies, whatever. It's all in there. Grain bags if you want. Mentorship and microscopy on the website there. I mean on the the email there. And also check out my website in the description. I just posted a new video number 100. That's over 18 hours of video on there, only $4.99 a month. It's a great deal. You also get Discord benefits, access to some secret special channels, and some cool ass roles. And what else? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, October 1st, microscopy tiers are coming back, guys. 8 months it's been since I last had a microscopy tier. A lot of stuff has happened in between. So yeah, it's gonna sort of be an experimental one again. But it's a really, really, really rare microscopy materials. It's a very rare microscopy letter. It's a special thank you letter, themed after microscopy materials. And it's gonna be based on okras that are squats. So okra squat mutations, which is really rare. Fred says, Sage, your black caps grew like weeds. Nice swaps to around T2 plates. Heck yes. Glad to hear that, Fred. Those black caps are awesome. Where are we? Wee John says, would Spore syringe have a better chance of success with PF Tech compared to grain spawn? Yes, that's true. It would. But me personally, I wouldn't mess with PF Tech in general. You can use PF cakes, but I wouldn't mess with PF Tech because, well, it's just a lot of hassle. All you need to do is take a Ziploc bag and then just put it over your jar. And before you put it over your jar, though, take away some of the vermiculite layer, put on some fresh vermiculite, not too much, just to basically cover the surface so it's less likely to dry out, and just mist it a lot until it's like glistening. That's going to act as your casing layer, and they're going to come out no problem. You don't have to then mess around with making a shotgun fruiting chamber. You don't have to mess around with perlite, which is absolutely messy. You don't have to mist it as much, and it's a lot simpler. For some idea about what I'm talking about, go to my nightclub channel, Sage's Intergalactic Nightclub. And the most recent video that I posted on there is called the Pukake tech, which was a tech that I was working on since 2022. I never got around to doing it, but this time I did a couple months back. So in that video, you can see everything. Oh yeah, today's Sunday. I was like, hey, you know what? This would be a good time to start live streaming because, this is a time when, you get off work and stuff, or most people are just getting off work or have already gotten off work. But then I realized today's Sunday, so it doesn't even matter. So this is probably not the best time to live stream. Oh well. Rebecca says, I still have 2 bags to poke, then I'll be graduating to do my own grain bags. Yeah. Kevin says, what's your thoughts on the boom room to have one, but I'm new to the hobby? Just like completely unnecessary, man. You don't need any of that stuff. All you need is a shoebox. Aaron says, good evening, brother. How's it going, Aaron? Crazy Eye says, hello and thanks for all the work in the vids. I have a question. I bought a Spore syringe that was marketed as NSS. Would that be considered okras now? Yes, it is. Please compare to black cap okras. I find black caps actually grow better, and they look cooler too, because the caps are much more metallic looking and darker. Some may say even black, but they don't really go black. It's more like a really dark metallic blue. It looks really cool. If you want to check it out, I got some videos on my website, MicroSage. If you sign up there, then you're going to get access to 100 plus videos. well, 100 videos as of today. Badner says, Sunday Fung Day. Yes, 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 indeed. Aaron says, first time live, watch your video. Tub of auto ape, 2 days in fruiting. Tub of auto ape, 2 days in fruiting. Haven't opened tub. Added air holes for FAE. Mycelium climbing walls, no pins, no primordial. If the mycelium is climbing up the walls, then I would say that they are lacking in fresh air exchange. And if you're lacking in fresh air exchange, it's not going to really promote fruiting. So I would suggest increasing FAE. Well, actually, if you just added air holes because of the mycelium going up the tubs, then I would wait and gauge the effects. But generally, though, if you should be following a tech, I hope you're following a tech. So that's either the, I wouldn't recommend the unmodified monotub tech, but I would recommend, just a classic 6-hole monotub tech, or the Easy Dial by Pasty White. That tech, either one of those. But I wouldn't just like start adding holes willy-nilly if you're a beginner. Rebecca Smith says, the whole house is listening to your live right now. I made a vat of chili for us and the neighbors. Oh God. Oh God. Aaron says, pseudo casing layer, but no casing layer. Think it needed more air holes. Wee John says, have you a video showing how to make liquid mycelium from spore syringes? No, I do not. And the reason for that is because I'm not too keen on liquid culture. I don't think, well, at least for my method of growing, I don't need it at all. And I don't want to contribute to the kind of misunderstanding that especially beginners have, that liquid culture is a, end all be all of inoculants. It's got a very specific purpose, and that's mainly for commercial growers who wants to be growing one strain, one culture constantly. But for most of us doing this as a hobby, it's mostly just get a couple grows of one strain. Okay, you're done. Move on to the next strain. Kevin Goat says, when you do the bucket tech on CBG, how long does that last? Can I use the bucket and save the rest for a week or two? Yeah, man, I have one that's 4 months old right now. I just leave it in the bucket. The Mycovet says chili sounds good right about now. Absolutely. Saprophytic says, what is Jiffy Mix? It's a seed starter mix, pre-packaged, that you can buy at places like the Garden Center, maybe Walmart in the States. Never used casing, but never got ATL7 to do more than stones. Well, there you go. That's why you gotta case them. Then you're gonna get a bunch. I got some videos on ATL7 fruiting on Microsage. Becky says Jiffy Mix is not muffin mix. Yes, not the food Jiffy Mix. How's it going, martial artist? What is up? Daniel says, hello, just became a member last week. Love your videos, man. Cheers, Daniel. I'm glad to hear you enjoy it. And thank you for your support. It means a lot. Kingdom Dom, how's it going? Jiffy Mix is also that cornbread mix. Yup. Seed starter mix, the big yellow package. That's the one you want. Seems like I've caught up the chat. How's it going, Fefe? Oh. So yeah, I mean, I've caught up to chat basically. We still only got 34 people in here, which is kind of a bummer. But well, I haven't been very active on my channel, so YouTube's sort of been throttling my video views. It's basically like less than half as it was in the peak days. But that's largely because I haven't really been posting much. It is what it is. Aaron says, definitely water droplets all over the top, condensation on sides and lids, not misting, not fanning, just waiting. Saw a couple spots of mushroom piss. I mean, check out my video if you haven't, called proper fruiting conditions, something like that. Proper surface conditions, I guess, for fruiting mushrooms on my channel. Big Jesse says, has there been any definitive answers to what causes blobs? Well, here's the thing. There is no definitive answer because there's many definitive answers to it, because blobs can be caused by all sorts of different reasons. It could be environmental. It could be genetics. Pretty much those two. Or it could be contamination, but we could include that with environmental, I suppose. Well, that's pretty much it. All of them are valid. All of them are true. Happy birthday, Feifei. Pretty much every and or variable depending on the situation. Every or and or. AV says, how did you learn all that you know? Sharing expertise is such a gift. Just lots of research, experience, a little studying over the years. But honestly, as of late, I haven't really been keeping up with much because I've been taking a bit of a myco break. But I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I take that as a big compliment. Aaron says, wonder what these auto apes are going to do. Big Primordia and whatnot. Hopefully the added FAE saves the day. No contam so far. Okay, guys, let's not use the P word, the potent word. Let's use the tasty word. Alan Moser says, have you ever flipped your cake? I'm trying it after my second flush and had to soak it too. Yeah, I tried it once when I was new, when I was a beginner. Never again. Just get the regular surface conditions on your top. Perfect. And reduce the moisture that you have on the bottom and the sides. Main way you can go ahead and do that is to not dunk your cake, but just mist it on top. That's what I do nowadays. Kevin says, are apes better for poo or cocoa substrate? Either one or both. It's completely fine. No difference. Sage, you use sorghum seeds, right? No, I don't. I do not. I use, I guess you're talking about the live casing. I use white clover seeds. Becky says, how was your time off? Pretty stressful, honestly. Pretty stressful. But necessary and valuable. I'm still processing a lot of things from that experience and making progress, but you know, it's yeah, figuring a lot of the stuff out. Yes, Kingdom Dumb says tasty as fuck. Yes. Aaron says only been 15 days from spawn to bulk. The little rhizomorphic growth from like little skeleton hands poking up. Big Jesse says, what has been your most frustrating grow? I don't know really. I've had so many that I can't even think about which one, like pinpoint. I've had many though. Basically the ones that didn't work out, you know, the ones that I put a lot of effort and didn't work out. Face says I have white clover here right to me, but have a sign of poison. And I'm not sure to use it with something I eat, you know. Yeah, if it says poison or whatever, I don't know why it says poison. That's scary. It's kind of scary if it says poison on it. I wouldn't use it. Aaron says that was me this summer. All 3 tubs died during the heat wave. Sorry to hear that, man. That's a real bummer. Caught up with chat again. Check out my website, guys, if you haven't. mycosage.com. It's in the description. $4.99 gets you access to so much stuff, so many videos, and some cool Discord benefits as well. And you're going to be supporting my work as well for a small amount every month. Aaron says, perfect. Those high temps just wasn't having it. Yeah. Let me see if I can get this thing. Oh, no, that's not working. This is not working. That's the way you do it. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let me see if I can get this thing. Nope. Oh. Nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I've saved my arms. Ooh, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about the noise. Oh, you get the idea, right? Saprophytic says, any tips on germinating old prints? That's a good question. But really, just put it on agar. If it doesn't work, then take another part of the print, put that also on another plate of agar, and just keep going. The agar should have enough moisture for the spores to activate. So I wouldn't recommend dipping it in water first or anything like that. It's unnecessary. Steve says, hey bro, you're okay? Share with us. You got a lot of love here, bro. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Pretty much I've talked about it mostly on the last live stream. So if you want to know more about it, check back there. But basically, I'm trying to find a good balance here of things. Yeah, let's just keep it at that. Caught up with chat again. Bad Nurse says, Sage, the first live I caught was in spring and I was having such bad luck. Very disappointing. You were very reassuring and I appreciate that. Your videos are great and my luck has changed since. Thanks. Awesome, Bad Nurse. I'm really, really happy to hear that. That's awesome. Kevin says, I'm not really having to make luck at all. I did just order a flow hood, but as a beginner, do you recommend starting with apes or something different? I would recommend starting with something different, honestly, or grow something different alongside apes, because apes take a long time and beginners usually are less patient. So grow something regular. I recommend like Cambodians or Mazatepec. Those are my favorite regular ones. But anything like GTs or B+, what have you. I don't really recommend B+, though. Screw B+. So yeah, that's what I recommend. Aaron says, do Casper get real big? Not really. Michael Vet says, you're a patient person? Yeah, I'd say I'm pretty patient, but I mean, patience is something really you're going to have to get used to in this hobby, because the time scale is just within, maybe at least like a month before you get any results. But once you get a couple grows going, then I don't really care much anymore. There's always something, interesting going on. Thank you so much, Steve, for the $10 super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Having said that, for anybody who wants to throw me, some funds my way, check in the description for the PayPal link, because YouTube takes 30% for the super chats. But thank you so much, man. Big Jesse says some people to train your grow on a single nutrition, while others say to vary it and keep them on their toes, making them more resilient. Thoughts? I mean, honestly, like at the scale that I grow it, any strain or culture is just so small that it doesn't matter. Simply put. Fefe says 13%. Wow. Oh no, not 13%. 30%. 30. Fred says mushrooms will teach us patience. Absolutely. Aaron says tap black cap unstable was supposed to be difficult. I nailed that as my first good grow. I mean, you know, core lovers are core lovers. The thing is, varieties like TBC, simply put, just take longer than something like, you know, GTs or Cambodians or Mazatepeks, whatever. So that's the thing that I'm basically addressing. Less time to grow, less things to screw up. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's all the same. They all grow in core, you know, it's just a matter of time. Mr. Movie Duck says, hey, Michael, glad to catch another one of your streams. Is micro-remediation something that interests you? I learned about it because of Tried Cotter's Mushroom Mountain. I mean, it's interesting, but it's not something that I'm like working on or something like that. It certainly is very cool. How's it going, Borf? Fred says, hitting the like button has been proven to decrease contamination. Yes, that is a scientific fact. New studies are always being released on that constantly. So it is true. It is true. Ignoramus says, I have a 6-tier rack in the room. Top shelf dries out sooner, but produces larger fruits. Lower and lower, they stay more wet and have more full canopies. That's kind of interesting, you know, the correlation between, because I also have a rack like that. It goes up to pretty much my ceiling. And I've never thought about that part, but there might be something to it. Might be worth exploring. Aaron says, knocked up end of February, like 25th, April 10th, had pins. Daniel Wilson says, my $10 pre-roll has 30% THC in it. Does that seem crazy to anybody else? I've caught up to chat. Aaron says, have you ever run Alakabanzi? No, but I have a friend that did. That was his first grow. Wolfie, how's it going? Right from Discord. And Michael Sage, thank you for your support. Late to the party, but I hope we're still cracking. Yes, we are still cracking as long as we keep getting people in here. I'm trying to get to 50 viewers, but it's not really happening. So yeah, since pretty much caught up to the chat, check out my website, Michael Sage, in the description. Just posted a new video on there for any video vaulters already on there. It's a pretty cool video, and there's many more to come. So check it out. Thank you for all the stickers, whoever's sending it. And in October 1st, I'm bringing back the Microscopy tiers. Get Microscopy materials sent to your mailbox wherever you are, as long as you're in a friendly place, of course. And this month's one is going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be okra squats, so sign up on the 1st of October, ending to the 4th. This is the original genetics tiers. Now a lot of people have started genetic tiers, but this is the original one. So if you want to be a part of it, then be sure to join on the website under the label of super tiers. So either you join the mycophilia tier or the super supporter tier. We got 40 people in here, only 10 more people to go to get to 50 viewers. Smash that like, share this video. Mr. Movie Duck says, what's the best upscale from the Instant Pot? Just more instant / crock pots? Pretty much. I mean, if you want to do like a lot, then basically just get like a 23 quart pressure cooker. That's pretty much the most economical, fastest way. The only reason I don't recommend that for most people, as other people do, because other people do recommend getting, you know, a huge pressure cooker, is because it's really huge and most people are not looking to grow that much, right? Like Instant Pot is plenty for, you know, for dinner with your friends and family, no problem. But if you're like growing like huge amounts, or if you're growing like a lot of monotubs at a time, for whatever reason, I'm not going to ask, then you want to get, you know, something like a 23 quart or 24 quart pressure cooker. So basically, if you want to be growing a lot, then just get a pressure cooker. Scallywag says, anyone ever seen a little bit of orange of grain in a grain jar? Mike piss or contam, very small amount of orange and no bad smell. I wouldn't worry about it. But if it's like really like cloudy orange, then I would worry about it. But if it's more like yellow, like pea, basically, like dehydrated pea, like not super dehydrated like orange, but you know, dehydrated, then it's fine. And if it's just a little bit, that's fine. The Myco Vet says that's what I'm seeing in my bag right now, hoping it's just piss because it's still colonizing really well. Gonna break and shake tomorrow, hopefully it bounces back. Knock on wood. Knock on laminate wood. The hardest type. Ignoramus says pressure cooker is the answer. I finally got one and changed everything. Success rate is near 100%. Yeah, pressure cooker is great. All right, so I'm gonna go get some water. Whoa, wait a minute. Wildflower says, I'm with you. Instant Pots are great, although I did buy a 23 quart Presto electric pressure cooker, which auto shuts off. I didn't know that. That must be new, man. Or woman, or whatever. I did buy a 23 quart Presto, electric Presto. I didn't know that they make electric 23 quart pressure cookers, but if they do, that's a real game changer. Actually, I do know that All American, yeah, All American makes the best, basically, pressure cookers. You can get a big one. There used to be a guy who was super active on this community. Some of you old heads may remember it, like Freddy's, who's on here from back in the day. He had like some awesome All American pressure cooker. It was electric, but those are really, really made well and high quality. I'll be back, guys. I'm gonna get some water. Okay, back. Good luck, scallywags. How's it going, Odin? Only 7 more people and we're gonna hit 50 viewers. Be sure to smash that like so we could get that goal. Wolfie says, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice to not have to babysit the PC for 2+ hours?" And that's what I do with the Instant Pot. You know, it's beautiful. Don't have to worry about the water getting lost. It turns off. You don't have to worry about falling asleep and forgetting to turn off the stove. The only issue is the size. But you could fit 4 jars in there, with an 8-quart Instant Pot. No problem. And you could also use it to pasteurize. It's so easy because the keep warm setting will get it straight to pasteurization temperature, perfect pasteurization temperature. You just gotta let it run. It turns off when it has to, when you set it, a couple of hours or whatever. Saprophytic says, what size agar bottles are you putting in the Instant Pot? 500 milliliters. Odin says, doing amazing, brother. Much love, fam. Cheers. Basically, to fit the jar, saprophytic inside the Instant Pot, I basically have to angle the jar like to the side. And I do that by like putting like some empty, like half pint jars or quarter pint jars. I'm just laying it like that. Chris says that is definitely the downside to doing large runs. You have to dedicate a whole day to it. Yep. Kevin Goad says, what can cause the caps of my apes to look bruised? Well, they're still very small. The cap hasn't even started to separate because they're apes. That's what they do. They're albinos, very tasty, so they're gonna blue on their own. It's nothing to worry about though. Usually. Scallywag says, when you clean your grain jars out, do you PC the empty jar to sterilize it before using grain, or is that overkill? I'd say that's overkill. I don't do that. The Mycovet says, don't the Instant Pot only reach like 12 psi? That still works. Yes, absolutely. See, that was one of the misconceptions, misunderstandings that the community in general had up until a couple years ago. And actually, the reason that I started my channel is because I wanted to disprove that idea, that notion that was just assumed to be the truth. And now it's well known that it completely works. 10 psi, 12 psi is fine. You just have to do it a little bit longer. There's actually a chart that shows you that. But basically, I started this channel originally because I took a break from mycology for 2 years, and I found an old grain jar that I made in the Instant Pot of rye grains, which is one of the grains that people said you can't do that in an Instant Pot because of endospores, blah blah. And I just inoculated it, and it just worked fine. 2 years after I used Instant Pot to sterilize it, so I wanted to just share that, and that's how this channel started. A little bit of mycophilia lore. That's my original channel. I haven't reposted those videos on my current channel here, but that's how it started. Glastron says, just rebuilt a vintage Miromatic with new pressure relief and gaskets, still going strong. Would love one of the USA made ones still. Heck yeah. Awful Waffle, I'm not going to read out your question, but basically, check out my recommended vendors in the description. Those guys are good. Especially Inoculate the World. Get 10% off of the code mycophilia at checkout. check out their isolated syringes. Those are excellent. And they're liquid culture. Bad Nurse says, do you have Keep It Simple merch? That's the best advice I've gotten. That would be cool. That would be cool to make. Unfortunately, nobody buys my merch, so like, just like, should I even, you know, bother making, you know, new T-shirts and stuff like that, new designs, because it does take a bit of work. But yeah, maybe. There's like 2 ideas now that I want to put on the merch store. Aaron says, got tired of the over misting, over opening, fanning BS. Your videos got me right where I am right now and fast. Awesome, man. Awesome, awesome. And for anybody who wants private one-on-one mentorship, we do video calls, one-on-one, to so that I could specialize into your personal situation and your goals and get you to your goal. 100% success rate. Many, many, many customers, students, all of them 100% success rates. I've been doing this for 3 years now. I'm very proud of it. So if you guys do want mentorship, private mentorship, if you're interested in the details, the prices and such, hit me up, mycophilia.official@gmail.com. The Mycovet says, sweet, gonna put those new brown rice bags to work in the Instant Pot then. Right on. Yeah, mycophilia to the moon like XRP. I don't know what XRP is. What's up, Inkling? Any problem with mail to the US? So far not, but here's the thing. Starting in like August 29th, the US changed its policy on duties coming in from Canada. So basically they want like 31% duties paid. That passes on to the customer. Okay. So that's why I've actually stopped doing microscopy sales to the US, unfortunately, which is a bummer, but it's just too expensive. And but for the microscopy tiers, the value of the spore swab is going to be set to $10. Now I'm going to have to declare it, but from what I've been reading and from the people that I've talked to is that that shouldn't be an issue. It should not be like no duty costs will be added to that, most likely. And even if they do, we're talking, you know, maybe $3 because the duty is about like 30 something percent they're going to take, which is quite a bit. But with a small value like $10, right? It's basically not really worth the effort for the customs officers to go through that nonsense. But for, you know, anything more, you know, it starts at $20 for if you want to do microscopy outside of the tiers. So in that case, then yeah, you know, talking, you know, $60, whatever, it's definitely going to be, you know, duty is definitely going to be added on to that, and it's going to be just too expensive for most people. So I still am doing microscopy sales internationally though, just not to the US, unfortunately. Now, if you are in the US and you still don't care and you still want to have my awesome genetics, then hit me up. I'd be happy to. Yeah, it definitely is a big complication. So that's why only the microscopy tiers are coming back. Now, having said that, there might be a chance that you're going to have to pay duties. But because the value is so low, it's only like we're talking like $3 or something like that. I doubt they would have any issues, but I have to say that just so that everybody knows, you know, that this is a potential outcome. But that's a great question, Susan. Chris says, Would I buy your merch? I guess. Rod Lopez says ITW is my go-to. Yes, ITW has been a very, very great partner to this channel. Affiliate, I should say, not really a partner, but I see them as a partner in the sense. 10% off with the code mycophilia at checkout. They're really good, and the thing, for they're not only good for like customers. I mean, obviously the quality is really good, right? That's the most important thing. But quality means nothing if the customer service and reliability is not there, and they have that for not only the customers but also for people like me who generate customers for them, and that's really important. Um, that's really important, because it's not only the front side that they're good, but also on the back side they're good because so many affiliates that I have, well, I shouldn't say I have currently, but so many affiliates in my experience don't pay you on time. I've had one affiliate called Spawn Magic. Um, he never paid me. Just led me on, never paid me. Um, or they'll say like they'll just pay you like a small amount of like what you should be paid. But ITW always pays on time, every single month, very reliable like clockwork, and I really really respect that. And I think it shines very favorably on the company's ethical and you know um, ethics and quality and all that. Johnny Cage says I experimented with little 1 minute Uncle Ben rice cups and a jug. I split. Okay, I'm gonna skip that one. Saprophetic says, do you prefer shoebox over monotub because of space? I mean, multiple reasons. Space is definitely a big one, but if it's not my determining one, because the main reason that I like shoebox is simply because I could do a lot of more grows, I guess in like a smaller amount of space. But the thing is, it's just smaller amount of space equals less effort in making the tubs, also less organic material I have to get rid of at the end. You know, just I don't need that much, right? It's just like the perfect size, get the benefits of a monotub, but in a very small scale. So it's not like physical space necessarily. It's just literally I don't want that much, and there's no point for me to use materials, resources, to do like something bigger of the same thing that I could just do in a smaller scale. Aaron says to case or not to case. I'm pretty sure I have a video called to case or not to case. If it's your first time, don't even bother casing. Chris says 100% new people. If in doubt, mentorship it out. Yes, that sounds really good. When in doubt, mentorship it out. All right, my back is kind of starting to hurt, so I'm gonna just go like that. I kind of like the setup, other than not really being able to see this. Ignoramus says shoebox for life, and you throw a little extra on the top. Yup. XRP is a cryptocurrency everyone is freaking out about. Oh, gotcha. Aaron says, didn't case the TBC and they did fine. The auto ape supposed to be faster, easier than ape usually. Didn't do the casing when I put fruit a couple days ago. I wouldn't worry about it. No worries, Susan. Ignoramus says, Aaron, I'd only do the case when I make the tub. I'd be too worried about contaminant if I tried to add it later. Aaron says, I've had a couple tiny grows, one decent grow under my belt, still new. Scallywag says, their customer service is really good. Speaking of Inoculate the World, Myco has really good customer service as well. Cool. But I do know that they sell liquid culture, 500 milliliters of liquid culture for $500, which is crazy and ridiculous. Myco, I mean. But I don't know which myco that is because there's a couple mycos out there. Bad Nurse says, Space News Saturn is in opposition tonight. The closest it will be to Earth. Can see the rings with binoculars. Having after party at Intergalactic Nightclub. Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that. I gotta look into it after. Well, guys, I think we're going to be winding it down a bit. Ignoramus. Fun experiment could be to run the same ratio side by side. One with kid. I've already got a couple of videos on that on Lycostage, the website. They're not like perfect experiments because, you know, we weren't using isolates or monocultures. But generally, the case does improve results quite a bit for most strains, most genetics. No problem, Aaron. Good to see you again, Chris. Later, bro. The Michael Vet says, so you're in Canada? Yes. Do you ever come down to the US for any festivals? No, I do not. It's always kind of I honestly don't like going down to the US because the customs officers always interrogate you like you're some kind of criminal, and it's kind of hard for me to tell them what I do. It's pretty kind of pretty stressful experience, unfortunately. But I would if I could. Easier. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great day or night. Mycophile Sage, checking out for now, and check out my website. And also, October 1st, we're gonna have the microscopy tiers coming back again. So hope to see you guys there. All right, guys. Bye-bye.